Hi guys, welcome back. A couple weeks ago on my video about how an EEOC claim isn't easy money, got a comment that reminded me fraudulent claims do exist and people profit from them sometimes. But what really struck me is something else the commenter said. When you use weasel words like reasonable accommodation, I get suspicious. And that's exactly the kind of suspicion that kept me and has kept so many of you from being able to get the reasonable accommodations we need. And that same kind of suspicion, when it's based on protected traits like gender, religion, and so on, has led to some horrifying forms of discrimination. It's rooted in biases that tell us what suspicious looks like. Hidden biases that we don't talk about and may not even be aware we have. Implicit biases. In my case, which was based on disability, I think that my boss had implicit biases about what disabled should look like, and it wasn't me. It's possible my boss didn't believe I was disabled. If my boss had admitted she had those suspicions, like the commenter that I mentioned in the beginning, we could have addressed them and resolved them with the medical documentation that I had. But instead, she kept those suspicions to herself and trusted them completely. She didn't just wonder if I was faking and decide to investigate further. She convinced herself that she already knew I was faking. So therefore, she didn't have to investigate. She didn't have to read any of the medical documentation that I gave her. And because she was so convinced I was faking, she wrote me off as a liar who deserved whatever punishment she wanted to dole out, including denying me reasonable accommodation. Of course, that doesn't excuse what she did, but it does explain why an otherwise reasonable woman would do such vile things to me. Now, implicit biases aren't illegal, but they can lead to discrimination that is. Hidden biases are like termites. For every one you see, you can bet there's a bunch more hiding nearby. And much like termites quietly infest our home, hidden biases quietly infest our workplace. They influence all kinds of decisions, and their influence isn't always easy to see. Left unchecked over time, that leads to systemic discrimination that chips away at employment opportunities for protected workers. It may not be overt in-your-face discrimination, but it can lead to disparate impact against a protected class. Now, the sneaky thing about implicit biases is that we all have them, and most of the time we don't even realize we have them. Did my boss realize that she had implicit biases against workers with invisible disabilities? Probably not. But does that matter? Since we all have hidden biases, we tend to assume that if we keep them hidden, they're not going to hurt anyone, so they're harmless. But they're not always. We don't have to look too hard for tragic examples of how hidden biases can play out when they go unchecked. It's hard enough to prove any discrimination claim, even when our employer's biases are on full display for everyone to see. When those biases are unspoken or hidden, well, it's even harder. Direct evidence probably doesn't exist. We can use circumstantial evidence if we can establish a prima facie case under the McDonnell-Douglas framework, but that requires us to show that our employer had discriminatory intent. How could my boss's discrimination have been intentional if it was based on biases that she didn't even know she had? It's a sticking point. This week I ran across a couple cases that applied an alternate framework for proving discrimination with circumstantial evidence, and I'll link to a couple of those cases in the description. It's called the convincing mosaic framework, and it says we can prove discrimination just by presenting a convincing mosaic of evidence that shows the discrimination really happened. We don't necessarily have to prove discriminatory intent. And that makes it really useful for dealing with the kinds of hidden biases that we're talking about today. A convincing mosaic can include things like suspicious timing, by showing close temporal proximity between disclosing a protected trait or engaging in a protected activity and the adverse actions our employer took against us. It can include ambiguous statements like, "You're not a good fit here," or "You're not a team player," which are often just a cover for implicit biases against a protected class. A good employment attorney is going to be able to work with statements like that to expose the real meaning underneath and what isn't being said. And we can probe their meaning too by asking polite but pointed questions in email, like I'm always talking about. You say I'm not a good fit. Can you clarify what that means? And can you give me some examples of the kinds of things you're talking about? We can use comparators to expose disparate treatment. And in addition to these kinds of circumstantial evidence, we can also use statistical evidence to show that people with our protected trait are hired less often, promoted less often, or laid off more often. Now, some of this evidence can be hard to get, but that's true even when the biases we're fighting against are explicit. But at least the convincing mosaic framework gives us a path forward when McDonnell-Douglas falls short. So we can convince EEOC that discrimination is real. It's probably not going to change the hidden biases that harmed us. I mean, to this day, my boss probably still believes that she knows what disabled looks like, and it's not me. Maybe I don't look disabled, but no matter how I look, and no matter how sure they are of themselves, or how justified they feel in doing what they're doing to us, the law gives us rights that they don't get to take away, no matter what they think. I'll see you guys next time. Till then, take care and hang in.